Good morning, dear students. Today my topic is History Lesson 4 in the earlier cities. In this chapter, I will tell you about the ancient civilization of India, that is the story of Harappa. Nearly 150 years ago, when railway lines were being laid down for the first time in Punjab, engineers stumbled upon the site of Harappa in present-day Pakistan. To them, it seemed like a mound that was a rich source of ready-made high-quality bricks. So they carried off thousands of bricks from the walls of the old buildings of the city to build railway lines. Then about 80 years ago, archaeologists found the site and realized that this was one of the oldest cities in the subcontinent. All other sites from where similar buildings were found were described as Harappan. These cities dwelt about 4700 years ago. What was special about these cities? Many of these cities were divided into two or more parts. Usually the part to the west was smaller but higher. Archaeologists describe this as the citadel. Generally, the part to the east was larger but lower. This is called the lower town. Very often walls of baked bricks were built around each part. The bricks were so well made that they have lasted for thousands of years. The bricks were laid in an interlocking pattern and that made the walls strong. Here in this picture, the western part is higher and it was called as citadel, and eastern part is lower and this was called as the lower town. This is also the other picture of citadel. In some cities, special buildings were constructed on the citadel. For example, in Mohenjo-daro, a very special tank which archaeologists call the Great Bath was built in this area. This was lined with bricks coated with plaster and made watertight with a layer of natural tar. There were steps leading down to it from two sides. While there were rooms on all sides, water was probably brought in from a well and drained out after use. Perhaps important people took a dip in this tank on special occasions. Other cities such as Kalibangan and Lothal had fire altars where sacrifices may have been performed. And some cities like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and Lothal had elaborate storehouses. Houses, drains and streets. Houses. Generally, houses were either 1 or 2 stories high with rooms built around a courtyard. Most of the houses had a separate bathing area and some had wells to supply water. Drains. Many of these cities had covered drains. Notice how carefully these were laid out in straight lines. Although you cannot see it, each drain had a gentle slope so that water could flow through it. Very often drains in houses were connected to those on the streets and smaller drains led into bigger ones. As the drains were covered, inspection holes were provided at intervals to clean them. All three, houses, drains and streets, were probably planned and built at the same time. Dear students, you also have to explain what were the similarities between houses, drains and streets of earliest times and of today. Life in the city. A Harappan city was a very busy place. There were people who planned the construction of special buildings in the city. These were probably the rulers. It is likely that the rulers sent people to distant lands to get metal, precious stones and other things that they wanted. They may have kept the most valuable objects such as ornaments of gold and silver or beautiful beads for themselves. And they were scribes, people who knew how to write, who helped prepare the seals and perhaps wrote on other materials that have not survived. Besides, there were men and women craftspersons making all kinds of things either in their own homes or in special workshops. People Many terracotta toys have been found, and children must have played with these. New crafts in the city. Most of the things that have been found by archaeologists are made of stone, shell, and metal, including copper, bronze, gold, and silver. Dear students, people of Harappan cities were not known to the iron. Copper and bronze were used to make tools, weapons, ornaments, and vessels. Gold and silver were also used to make ornaments and vessels. Perhaps the most striking finds are those of beads, weights, and blades. The Harappans also made seals out of stone. These are generally rectangular and usually have an animal carved on them. Many of the things that were produced probably the work of specialists. A specialist is a person who is trained to do only one kind of work, for example, cutting stone or polishing beads or carving seals. Harappans also made pots with beautiful black designs. Cotton was probably grown at Mehergarh from about 7,000 years ago. Actually, pieces of cloth were found attached to the lid of a silver vase and some copper objects at Mohenjo-daro. Archaeologists have also found spindle wheels made of terracotta and faience. These were used to spin thread. Faience is a material that is artificially produced. A gum was used to shape sand or powdered quartz into an object. The objects were then glazed, resulting in a shiny, glassy surface. The colors of the glaze were usually blue or sea green. Faience was used to make beads, bangles, earrings, and tiny vessels. In search of raw materials. Raw materials are substances that are either found naturally or produced by farmers or herders. These are then processed to produce finished goods. Some of the raw materials that the Harappans used were available locally. Many items such as copper, tin, gold, silver, and precious stones had to be brought from distant places. The Harappans probably got copper from the present-day Rajasthan and even from Oman in West Asia. Tin, which was mixed with copper to produce bronze, may have been brought from the present-day Afghanistan and Iran. Gold could have come all the way from present-day Karnataka, and precious stones from the present-day Gujarat, Iran, and Afghanistan. Food for people in the cities. We know from remains of plants that the Harappans grew wheat, barley, pulses, peas, rice, sesame, linseed, and mustard. A new tool, the plough, was used to dig the earth from turning the soil and planting seeds. While the real ploughs, which were probably made of wood, have not survived, toy models have been found. As this region does not receive heavy rainfall, some form of irrigation may have been used. This means that water was stored and supplied to the fields when the plants were growing. The Harappans reared cattle, sheep, goat, and buffalo. Water and pastures were available around settlements. However, in the dry summer months, large herds of animals were probably taken to greater distances in search of grass and water. They also collected fruits like bear, caught fish, and hunted wild animals like the antelope. A closer look, Harappan towns in Gujarat. The city of Dholavira was located in Khyber Belt in the run of Kutch, where there was fresh water and fertile soil. Unlike some of the other Harappan cities, which were divided into two parts, Dholavira was divided into three parts, and each part was surrounded with massive stone walls with entrances through gateways. There was also a large open area in the settlement where public ceremonies could be held. Other finds include large letters of Harappan script that were carved out of white stone and perhaps inlaid in wood. This is a unique find, as generally Harappan writing has been found on small objects such as seals. The city of Lothal stood beside a tributary of the Sabarmati in Gujarat, close to the Gulf of Khambat. It was situated near the areas where raw materials such as semi-precious stones were easily available. This was an important center for making objects out of stone, shell, and metal. There was also a storehouse in the city. Many seals and sealings were found in this storehouse. Dockyard at Lothal. This was the huge tank that may have been a dockyard where boats and ships came in from the sea and through the river channel. Goods were probably loaded and unloaded here. In this picture, you can see the remains of the Dholavira city, and in the second picture, a dockyard in the Lothal city. Seals and sealings. Seals may have been used to stamp bags or packets containing goods that were sent from one place to another. After a bag was closed or tied, a layer of wet clay was applied on the knot and the seal was pressed on it. The impression of the seal is known as the sealing. If the sealing was intact, one could be sure that the goods had arrived safely. Seals are used even today. The mystery of the end. There can be many reasons for the end of this civilization. Some scholars suggest that the rivers dried up. Others suggest that there was deforestation. This could have happened because fuel was required for baking bricks and for smelting copper ores. Besides, grazing by large herds of cattle, sheep, and goat may have destroyed the green cover. In some areas there were floods, but none of these reasons can explain the end of all the cities. Flooding or a river drying up would have had an effect on only some areas. It appears as if the rulers lost control. In any case, the effects of the change are quite clear. Sites in Sindh and West Punjab were abandoned, while many people moved into newer, smaller settlements to the east and to the south. New cities emerged about 1400 years later. Elsewhere, most of Egypt is a dry desert except for the lands along the river Nile. Around 5,000 years ago, kings ruled over Egypt. These kings sent armies to distant lands to get gold, silver, ivory, timber, and precious stones. They also built huge tombs known as pyramids. When they died, the bodies of kings were preserved and buried in these pyramids. These carefully preserved bodies are known as mummies. A large number of objects were also buried with them. These included food and drink, clothes, ornaments, utensils, musical instruments, weapons, and animals. Sometimes even serving men and women were buried with the rulers. These are amongst the most elaborate burials known in world history. Thank you.